What's going on, guys? This is Lior and welcome back to my channel. Now in this video, what I'm gonna do is give you guys a little bit of an overview of some of the structural work we're doing here at phase 2 of this East Boston condo project. We finished up phase 1. Phase 2 here involves the addition in the rear and addition vertically, where we're gonna take this 3-story structure and go up to 4 stories. We're gonna do 4 condos. But there's a lot of structural work that's involved. So I'm gonna give you guys an overview of what we've done to date, where we're at right now, so you guys can kind of get a sense of just how much work and preparation goes into this expansion. So let's get at it. All right, so in terms of actual structural and foundation work, this project had 2 phases, right? So if we're looking at this project, you have the existing building, and then right here, you can actually see exactly where the addition for the foundation is going. And I'm gonna actually start in a little bit of reverse order. We first had to do the structural work inside the existing basement, right? Because we needed to resupport that because we're gonna take that building up vertically. But I'm gonna start by talking about this rear addition, just because it's easier and we're here already. So one of the things you'll notice right off the bat here is you'll see these big spokes coming out. These were helical piles, right? And we had to drill in helical piles both in the existing foundation and in the rear foundation, here in the rear addition. And basically helical piles, they're big screws that get screwed into the earth. And this, because of the soil composition here in East Boston, which if you build here, you know it's not great, we need this additional piles, which basically help secure the foundation and really secure the building, right? So that was the first part before all these additional forms were built, is we had to build all these piles. So you see right here, we got piles in the middle. You can see right here, we got actually piles in the back of the slot here. These are actually for the rear, for the decks that are gonna be built because they're gonna support the load of the decks. Now, once we actually screwed in the piles, you can see if we get pretty close to the edge here, we did a lot of backfill. You can see we have crushed stone. And now we actually have to do the form work to prepare for our new foundation, right? So I'm actually gonna jump down and you guys can see exactly what we're talking about. So you can see, you can see right here, these are this is the form work that we did, and these are gonna be for the footings for the new addition, right? So we had to do this form work. You can see there was a rebar work done here as well throughout, right? So we had to put in rebar. We had this inspected, of course, by not only the city, we have additional monitoring companies, an additional monitoring company here that gives us sign-offs to make sure that this was all done correctly to plans. So you can see the rebar goes all the way across. We have some forms in the middle. You know, you can see that there's a connection to the original foundation, right? And now today is actually going to be later on, once we're done shooting this video, we actually are going to have the concrete guys come in here and pour all the forms here for our footings. So once that gets done, then we'll actually go up with a foundation wall. So this is the footings, then we're going to go with a wall. That new wall height is going to match the existing. You can see that reveal on the original foundation, and I'll point that out to you guys just so it's clear, right? We're gonna take that foundation wall right up to the existing level, and then that way it's gonna become one smooth addition, right? You're gonna have the units are essentially gonna continue all the way to the back right here. So that's basically what we have to, that's kind of the preparation work and the general game plan of how we're gonna extend this building all the way to the back here. And again, this is the edge of this is gonna be the edge of the new building, and this is gonna be our decks that go out in the back. So now that you guys got an overview about what we're doing in the addition, this part in the original basement, which is where we're at right now, this was actually the site of where we had to do the original structural work. And again, one of the main reasons why we had to do quite a bit of work here is because we're expanding the building vertically, right? So we're obviously putting a lot more load on the building. So we have to really re-support the building to make sure that it can handle another story. So what we did here, just kind of exactly as I said before, the first phase was we put in new helical piles. And what was actually kind of crazy is we had to take these big screws, get a machine into this very low height basement, and the machines had to come in and again screw the piles in. They're all over the edge of the basement here, again re-supporting the entire perimeter of the structure, but it was quite a logistical challenge actually getting that machine in here into this really tight space, but that's what you have to do when you're working in the city. So once the helical piles got screwed in, then what we actually ended up doing is pouring new footings across the entire foundation, as well as in the middle right here, right? So all this whole middle area right here, you can see we and the perimeter, we poured brand new footings to re-support, again, the perimeter wall. And then once we did that, and again, they were poured with rebar. So exactly how you saw the rear where there was rebar and formwork, that's exactly what we did here. We set everything up, put rebar, poured our concrete. Once we poured the concrete everywhere, which we had to do in multiple phases because we didn't want to risk destabilizing the building. So our structural engineers spec'd out an order of operations where we did it in certain batches, which took quite a bit of time. Once all of that was done, only then did we get to pour this finished slab that you kind of see right now, right? So this was a very challenging site, right? Because again, this is East Boston. If you guys are not from Boston, you know that this is, East Boston has a pretty high water table. And so as soon as we dug in, a foot and a half below this current elevation right here, we were actually hitting a lot of water very quickly too. So there was a lot of mitigation against water. We had to work with that while we were pouring the concrete. So it was just a lot of technical challenges with this site. And again, we had close cooperation with our structural engineer. We had our geotech engineer involved. As I said, we worked with a third-party monitoring company to make sure that we were matching all the exact specifications and criteria. So it was just a lot of hands-on manpower to get this building to this exact state where it's structurally sound now and ready to handle that additional vertical load. So that's the overview of some of the structural work we've done here. It's not quite everything. I didn't touch on some of the drainage work and a few other details, but at a high level, those were some of the big stuff that we've done to really prepare this building, like I said, for the vertical addition as well as rear addition. So there was multiple steps. As you can kind of tell from this process, it was a very hands-on process, as I said, that involved multiple engineers, multiple inspections. Of course, we worked, of course, with the city and everything. So that was all part of this process of getting this building ready for that pour. So we're about to start pouring. As I said, we're going to do our footings today and hopefully our walls shortly right after. But hopefully that was helpful, guys. Hopefully you kind of see some of the behind the scenes of what it takes for some of these projects, especially in dense urban areas here like East Boston, where you're dealing with many different factors like, soil that's not great, water. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong on these sites that need to be mitigated with the right team. So hopefully that's helpful, guys. I'll of course show you the project as we get, once we pour this, once we start our framing and we go up, I'll do more videos on this. So you can kind of see behind the scenes of how this project comes together.